Minnesota's Ramsey County Attorney John Choi has announced he will stop prosecuting most felony cases stemming from low-level traffic violations like broken headlights or expired tags.
This, of course, after the death of Philando Castile, the 2016 death. He was shot and killed by police during a traffic stop in Ramsey County. Let's bring in now John Choi, the Ramsey County Attorney. Sir, thank you so much for being here. And Philando Castile, that traffic stop was initiated because of a busted taillight. It led to the death of a man. Is this what you are trying to stop? And is this policy now a direct result of the death of Philando Castile?
You know, like you said, I mean, the whole case about Philando Castile should have never happened, in my opinion. And it happened because of the busted taillight. And I think what was going on in that particular situation is that the police were conducting what is known as a pretextual traffic stop, where they will utilize some equipment violation, which has no impact on public safety whatsoever. But then they're looking for something more. In this particular case, the officer articulated that he thought that Philando might have been a robber from a few days ago, and he drove by Larpenteur Avenue. I just don't get that. And I think really what we need to do in this country is fundamentally change the way that we think about this type of jackpot policing or fishing expedition type of policing, because it has this really huge impact on people of color, especially African Americans. They're in my community, and it's just like everywhere else in the country. African Americans are 4 times more likely to be subject to a traffic stop, more likely to be subject to a search. And so I think we argue a lot about why this happens, but we need to stop the argument and really think about the outcome. That's what America is not liking. They're not liking the racial disparity in policing and in the criminal justice system. And this policy is really an effort to try to get at that. I, as the prosecutor, don't want to incentivize or perpetuate these types of outcomes that play out across America every day. And so this is an effort and an attempt to say, at least from the power that I have, to say that we're not going to perpetuate this type of policing anymore.
John, how did you decide or determine the parameters for this new strategy? What constitutes a non-public safety stop?
For instance, expired tabs or a cracked windshield, one headlight out, one brake light out, things in that category. People don't call and complain about that. What people complain about are people who are driving drunk, people who are speeding in residential areas, those types of things that really matter to public safety, right? And so these are things that oftentimes have been used by police as a pretext or as a reason to actually stop somebody and then conduct a further investigation. So we shouldn't have these cases coming to my office, but in the event that they do, then we're going to apply the policy. And again, it has to have one of those 6 non-public safety stops, and if that's the only reason why you pulled somebody over, right, whatever comes of that subsequent investigation, we're not going to prosecute it. And same thing to say also, part of the policy is that if you ask people for consent to search a vehicle when you have absolutely no reason to even suspect any crime, we're not going to prosecute your case. So another part of this is to stop having police asking people for consent, because that's coercive, and it really breeds distrust in our community.
Well, Mr. Choi, are there any exceptions to be made? Because there are plenty there who are, and again, I'm sure you've seen the criticism from the executive director of the police union there, who's saying you're not even giving them a slap on the wrist. The criminals are some going to get a high five from the attorney, and you have at least one, at least Republican legislator there saying a felony is a felony. So what are the exceptions if you do stop for a traffic light or a headlight that could lead to something, a serious crime that an officer discovers? What will you do?
Right. We do have every good rule will always have an exception, and we do have a public safety exception that we're going to record and keep track of and be transparent about. You know, so certainly if there's a case that does come to us that would have an impact to public safety, and I know that the people of Ramsey County would want that case prosecuted, we would do that. And you know, the values that are being espoused by the police union, you know, those are antiquated, outdated values that I think actually got us into the mess that we're in today, where more people are recognizing that they're not liking the outcomes in the justice system, how policing plays out in America. And so I think we need to move away from those values, and those values are really based upon fear. That quote that you just read is really trying to stoke fear in trying to convince people that they will not be safe. I mean, the police chiefs that have joined me and myself, we would never do anything to our community if we felt that what we were going to do was going to diminish public safety.
Well, Ramsey County Attorney John Choi, we appreciate your time today. Thank you for being on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.